Gentlemen, sorry, I wanted to record this class, so sincerely, the class will not record but we are on second segment. So in this second segment, we're looking at models, port, protocols, and network services. Initially, we've discussed this extensively, but no, not too deep. But today, I want us to, look at it. Having appetized us with cloud security and also the benefits of why cloud security should interest you. We are here to, look at the other aspects of feature class today. And we're looking at models, port protocols, and network services. Let's start with the content. So what are we going to discuss tonight? This content. We're going to explain the purpose and uses of ports and protocols. Why should you be interested as cybersecurity analyst? Then we'll also look at we also explain devices, application, protocols, and services at the appropriate OS layers, right? And then we'll look at functions of network security. So let's start with the first one, the OSI, that is open source intelligence, open source internet. So when we look at the networking model that is involved in this OSI, we will now begin to look at various layers. So let's look at this image. If you look at this image, number one starts with physical layer. So it runs from ascending, ascending to descending or ascending. Yeah. So we'll start from 1 to 7. The first layer we'll be discussing is physical layer. Now we look at the OC model and you begin to visualize what all the 7 layers does. Now in the network security or network analysis, the layers are being classified based on the functions they perform in the network. Like as you can see, the physical layer. Yeah, if you look at this physical layer, you will now discover that though we did not discuss them, like look at the physical layer, the hardware of the system, the topology. The topology has to do with the way the networks are being connected or being arranged in order to provide efficiency. Like I always tell us, I'm not a fan of reading word by word. Why I give this content is for you to read it. Then I will just do a little touch up. So if you have any question at the end of the presentation, ask a question on each slide or about what we discuss, I will answer them. So the data link is responsible for getting data to the physical layer so that it can transmit all over the network. Think about the data link as your storage card where you have different information being saved. Then you look at network layer. This layer is responsible for the network routing, providing mechanism by making sure that data can be passed from one network system to another. We've explained earlier what network is all about. This thing I'm doing is just for us to be sure that when we begin to go into practicals, nobody will be left behind. That's why I'm breaking it down and I expect you to read them. So now, the function of the transport layer. If you look at when we look at transport network communication, you will realize that TCP, UDP, they all belong in transport layer because these are people that connect your device from the other device. UDP is what? Connectionless, like we said earlier. So here we look at it briefly. Section layer. Anytime you establish connection from your device to the other device, you are doing what? There is a section that has been established. So those sections have parameters that measures them. So that is responsibility of the section layer. Then you have the presentation layer that has to do with packets that are being passed through that network. You have the application layer, which is the last layer of the OSM model. So let's look at the comparison. We have different components. We have two comparisons. When it comes to model, we have the TCP IP model that have 7 layers, and the OSI model that have this one have the TCP model have the 4 layers, while the OS have 7 layers, but all represent the same communication of what packets. But then those here have 7 layers, the other one have 3 layers. That is the difference, but they all focus on the same mechanism and with functions. Port and protocol. This have been explained in detail, and I don't think we have much problem with it. Now, I just want to look at the protocols that we have. On Saturday last week, I mentioned that we have series of protocols. Yes, so I decided to bring them on board so that we can have an idea of what we should expect. If you look at the FTPL is what? File transfer protocol, which means this is a protocol that tells us where files should patch to the node or in the network. And it uses for port what? Port 20. We have the FTPS, which is secure version of the FTP. By tomorrow, when we're doing network analysis, we'll begin to see how these things interoperate. So, but a good part is we are trying to ensure that we solidify you. That's why sometimes we provide you with some information that you are not even right to receive. But these are protocols that have been explained to you. You have the material, you can read them ahead. The essence of me making it available before the class is for you to read. Then when we come to class, when I explain a little, you ask question. Your question is what will help me to explain it more, not your silence. So at this juncture, I promise that today's class is going to be short but direct. So at this juncture, if you have questions, ask. Because tomorrow I may not be available. I may not be able to answer all your queries concerning this particular thing we discussed this night and the previous night. So if you have any question, bring it out. Ask your question. As you ask, I will explain more. So that tomorrow, when we are doing practicals, looking at packet, somebody will not be confused. So that's why I always try to make the class so fast and short, and then allow questions to be more longer because it is their question that will help me to know whether you understand it. And again, I try to make the class so short, knowing fully well that we still have physical class to practice, so that I won't give you so much information. But before I begin to get your questions, begin to attend to your questions, I want to say this. A lot of you are complaining about, you know, so much materials, so much documents being given to you. Let me say this. My own aspect is to provide you the hands-on. In fact, I'm the one that will make you practice cybersecurity. So what I do is to try to give you materials, at least that will bring you closer to the reality. I don't want to go so much with what is it called? The theory, so that you will not be so bored. At the end of the day, you lost out. That's why I narrow it down to a level where you know you can begin to have a very clarification of what security entails. Because if you know about the definition of security, blah blah blah, and at the end of the day, you cannot be able to interact with the networks or analyze a simple vulnerability. It doesn't make sense. So based on that, I want to say that, do you have any question for me? Tomorrow we'll be looking at some packets. Ask your question, please. Raise up your hands. I'll call you. Okay, Just speak. Unmute yourself and speak, Justin. This is Justin. Yeah, Justin, I'm right.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, bro. Go ahead. Good evening, bro. Go ahead.
So I saw among all the ports that were listed out down here, I saw that HTTP has 80 and HTTPS has 443. Please, can you explain a bit why it's that way, sir? Why is HTTPS not using 80 as HTTP is using 80?
All right, thank you, Justin. So that's a very good question. So UTP is UTCP. UTC is communication. CTP is communication transmission protocol. So TCP is a connection. It uses a secure layer which has to provide encryption, right? So that's the reason why HTTP, we have HTTP and HTTPS in the communication protocol. But then when you make a comparison between UTCP and UTP, you realize that TCP is a communication-oriented protocol, while UDP is communicationless protocol, meaning that UDP, user diagram, said, I have sent you, go and do your work. The other one said, no, there's something I want. The other one say I want to make sure that we are doing this work. So this provision make it easier for so many networks to rely on TCP instead of UDP. So to answer your question, HTTP and also TCP communicate in port 80 when it is not secured. But when it's provided with encryption, it transmits with port 443. So just I don't know if I've answered that question. Okay, just see raise up your hand. So Jassy,
Yes, sir. Sir, you answered my question. Yes, you answered my question quite right. But there's something else I want to ask, sir.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. The last class we had on Saturday, a guy described that when you are opening a site that has a HTTP site that doesn't have S, that means it's not secured. Does it mean that any site you are opening that doesn't have HTTPS is not a secured site?
Okay. Thank you very much. Jassy, thank you very much. The answer is no. It's not all sites that you open that have HTTP that is unsecure. The only thing that make it that the site might be secure, but because they don't have, or they might have not, they might have not paid for SSL, which is the encryption that make it secure, does not make that site insecure. Like take for example, say EPSU now. EPSU is housing so many database and also student information and other activities. So if their SSL expires, it will now be run on port 80, which is insecure. But does it mean that EPSU is insecure? No. The thing is, probably they have not implemented, the necessary encryption or security level. So that will make them insecure. But then does the school provide insecure service? No. So the truth is some platform based on their configuration might run out of security and then it will be like that. That does not mean that they are insecure. The thing is, the reason why they seem insecure is because at that level they are vulnerable to what we call cross scripting attack. Because the data that are being passed through that platform is very porous. So that is the reason. Not that the organization itself is not safe or have something else. Okay. Any more question? Because of tomorrow class, I wouldn't want us to delay much here. So I believe that since we don't have much question, we have understood what we are discussing, and tomorrow I want us to read whatever we've not read on these two materials, so that we'll now begin to look at ports. So that is yes, Destiny, yeah, unmute yourself on top. Destiny, unmute yourself on top. Destiny, unmute yourself and talk. Okay, Destiny is not talking. Let's give let's give room to
Hello,
Chukwemeka.
hello. Good evening,
Alright,
sir.
Destiny, go ahead.
Sir, I don't have much questions. Just that I was a little bit confused from the explanation you gave concerning the
Concerning the
HTTPS and the HTTP.
okay, I said that HTTP and HTTP, that is hypertext text transfer protocol, you know, is when the S is not there, the S provides what we call encryption. So the communication is being done what is secure because of that HTTP that uses what transport layer security, which is which boils down to what encryption, and on a normal level they call it SSL. So when you register yourself, you will still have to buy that SSL to ensure that you provide encryption, which make it difficult for anybody to see the information that passes through your website. Do you understand? So when that HTTP is not there, it makes it looks like there is what? It makes the site look like everything is what label. When you open it, you label anything when you do, it is everybody can see it. So that's what I explained earlier.
Sir,
So
what I'm saying is
okay.
for the user,
Mm,
because most times that we have heard about the HTTP without the one that has the S. You have been told that the user is in fact anything could happen to the user in case the user is inputting PIS, that is personal identification numbers. So
mm.
I'm just asking if that HTTP is secured, as you are just saying, then what's the need of getting the SSL layer security encryption that you are talking about? That is just a place that I don't understand what.
So if you are this thing, if your site is not safe, it's not safe. Once there is no HTTP, I mean there is no S which provides encryption to that HTTPS. It means that any information when you submit your data to establish a relationship site, your data is open, is anybody can see it. So it is that encryption that makes it difficult for anybody to try to know what is being communicated. And that's why we say that is the reason why that port 80 is not secure, because it's not using encryption to pass to allow the transportation of data. So based on this, I want you to go and read more so that tomorrow we'll. So let's go and practice what we learned this tonight, please. let's practice it and then be able to, get the necessary um, knowledge for us to practicalize tomorrow. So read the other materials as I've given you, so that tomorrow we can be able to see how these things interrelate. Thank you. Have a beautiful night, rest.